Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the first floor auditorium of ASIAA. And thank you all for coming to the event today. Today we are not going back to see the Voyager of the Enterprise. We are seeing the voyage of the IAA in the 30 years time and space. So to me, IAA is just like a starship. Lead us to explore the strange new world, seek out the new science field, and boldly go where no one has gone before. And in the beginning, I would like to invite the leader of this star fleet, the President Liao, the President of AS President President Liao Junzhi.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished guests, it's my true honor to be here to host and congratulate ASIAA for the 30 years anniversary. As we know that 30 years ago, the preparatory office of ASIAA was formally established and was chaired by Typhoon Lee. But in fact, a few years back, ASIAA was promoted by a few scholars from abroad, including Frank Xu and many others. So ASIAA at that time had a strong support from the top administration. And since its preparatory office established, the ASIAA went through several phases of expansion and development, and has several outstanding leadership, including Paul Ho and You-Hua Chu. I don't know if You-Hua is here, and now I don't know if I missed any of the former directors. And then now under our current leadership,彭威禮. And ASIAA has made several significant contributions. I will only mention three aspects. Number one, ASIAA participated in many large international projects, including SMA, Subaru, ALMA, ESD. I'm sure the list was so long I cannot remember everything. But among them, probably the ESD is the most significant achievement. It made the world news as well as international domestic excitement in astronomy and astrophysics. And number two, ASIAA has made a great contribution in training scientists, particularly in astronomy and astrophysics. And many domestic faculty members are alumni of this institute. Not only that, this institute attracted many international researchers. As you can see in the audience, there are several international staff members now working in ASIAA. So ASIAA is truly a model for academic Sinica to internationalize our research connections. Number three, probably you will also recognize that ASIAA is always the most popular stop for our open house, which we just held 2 days ago. So that means that ASIAA has a strong contribution in promoting science education and popular science. And I remember a few years back when the black hole image was first released, that made the, of course, international news. But in Taiwan, that occupied the headline of several newspapers, at least for a couple of days. And that also made our open house event that year was the most popular ever. So astronomy as well as dinosaurs are the two areas that kids love for no reason. That's why people are always excited to see stars, to look into the skies, or to look at the bones. Okay, those are two things that the kids like to see. And it's a great tool to excite people to participate in STEM education, to devote their life in science. So in that regard, we can see ASIAA has many aspects of accomplishments. And I'd like to congratulate again that ASIAA in the past 30 years has established this great institution. And I'm sure in the next 30 years and beyond, ASIAA will grow into even more significant accomplishment. Thank you very much.
And the next one, we would like to invite the greetings from our current director,彭威礼.
Can you hear me? Yes. Well, since we just heard from our Starfleet commander, and I must say that next title must go to Paul, must be Captain Kirk. I would call myself Captain Picard or something. I don't know the next after that. But yes, welcome everyone. It's President Liao and former directors and dignitaries came from pretty much all over the world to come and celebrate our 30th year of the 15th Cynical Institute for Astronomy and Astrophysics, and helping on understanding this event and reading some of our background material. I can't help but be impressed how much the Institute has grown and has accomplished over the past 30 years. I first visited here probably around 94, 95, when the Institute was in the biochemistry building. So I've seen the Institute over a good chunk of those 30 years develop. I thought I was lucky to catch myself in some of the old pictures outside. I guess I'm more than 30 years old now, but good to wish ourselves a nice 30th birthday in any case. And looking at these, of course we have members, both very senior and also young members of our institute. And I think it's good to reflect back. We'll be hearing many presentations of the history, to think of what we will say in 30 years' time about this institute. Where will we be? I think 30 years ago, I wasn't quite here 30 years ago, but to think forward, I think probably some of you actually were here 30 years ago, to think, what it would have been hard to be creative enough, to be bold enough to think what the institute would be like today. And we want to think boldly of what other possibilities there are, where the world will be going. So we've seen what the world did in our field, and I want to all of us to, while we're hearing about how our past evolved, to think, keep an eye on. Of course, these are all great things. President Liao mentioned many of our achievements, including the black holes. They started off as one of the earlier projects where SMA and TAOS, which are still ongoing projects today. But to start thinking ahead of where the opportunities will be, and not just, in Taiwan, we have great minds. We don't have the world's biggest GDP, so just, some places like in China, they are willing to just, whatever the obvious problem is, just throw more money at it. That's something that obviously we can't do here. Or the US, of course, has the world's biggest GDP, so they can just do the world's biggest projects. Here we need to find the right corrections. President Liao calls this we want to achieve these peaks of excellence. So we can't just throw money at the problem and solve everything, but we do want to develop the ones where we have especially good opportunities. And with that, I think I'm very much looking forward to the next day and a half of our celebration and our talks. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have a group photo first. So let's look at the camera on the left. at the camera at the middle and say cheese. And then we would like to make the selfie machine for 10 seconds so that we can take the photo for all of us. And then, okay. Okay, thank you. Every great story has a beginning. And the story of IAA begins with a great person. He's the first captain. He inspired a whole generation to study in astronomy. He is also the founder of the ASIAA. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you, academician Typhoon Lee. Due to the physical condition, his speech will be addressed by his son, Wei.
Well, President of the Academy and fellow members of the Institute, we have a whole day of speeches ahead of us, so I promise to be brief. We're here today to celebrate the 30th birthday of ASIAA. That means 30 years ago, in 1993, the preparatory office of the Institute was established. Now, that was 1983. If we go even earlier time, in the 80s, all there was in Taiwan was a crowd of star watchers who were romantic about the night sky and the universe beyond. Romantic but not professional. And as I've always liked to say, there were no more than 5 actual astronomers at the time. But fast forward to today, there are more than 300 professionals, give or take, in this field, including some of our wonderful colleagues and friends from countries like Japan and Germany. And this is always the first thing that comes to my mind when I look back at the journey, and it still amazes me. So I feel very lucky and grateful to so many people. Also, I think about how our institute changed locations 4 times before finally settling down in this very building. Also, the preparatory office, if you check our official website, existed for 17 years before the institute was officially formed. So therefore, theoretically, we spent 17 years preparing. We certainly come a long way. Now, during this process from 0 to 1, we've had to be bold, but also calculated, creative, but also realistic. In the early 90s, we would try to make the Institute a reality. The late great professor Frank Xu drafted a 10-year plan with input from other team members, of course, that outlined a path forward. And in that plan, it contained projects which we believed at the time represented the best chance for the Institute to grow and thrive. In the years that followed, some of these projects never really came to fruition. But some, such as our efforts in the sub-millimeter array and our Takama large millimeter array, helped put the Institute on the map. In the meantime, of course, we're also looking forward to results from other projects like TAOS 2 and other endeavors. As the Chinese saying goes, by age 30, a person, an individual, should have a clear self-identity and a better sense of direction. ASIAA is certainly at a very different stage now, and so much bigger and so much more capable than 30 years ago. But the road ahead could be just as challenging as it was when the Institute was much younger. So I wish it a very, very happy 30th birthday and look forward to an even better 40th birthday. Thank you.
And once again, the first director of IAA, Academician Typhoon. Thank you. And the next speaker will be the one as an acting director of 2002 to 2003. And then he was the director of 2005 to 2014. Under his leadership, we accomplished a lot of the great projects. He is the one I don't need to introduce. He is the one all of us all know. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Paul.
Let's press. Press.
Well, so first of all, James got us left so we can take off our coats. Second, the efforts that we have undergone here, of course, depend so much on Typhoon started us, right? So we always blame Typhoon for making all of us show up in Taiwan. And some of us who were not supposed to be here, like myself, eventually got dragged to show up here anyway, right? And there are two important directors before me, which are not here with us anymore, and that's Yuan-Chi and Fred Lowe. And they played an important key role in setting us onto this path. So I just want to go back and look at what we were doing for 30 years at the beginning part, how to do this. So Typhoon had this roadmap together with Frank, and there were some specific things in there that were very important. For example, we knew we were in a weak state. The weak state is due to the fact that there were no astronomy infrastructure. As we say, there were 5 astronomers in Taiwan. All of them were in Central University, essentially. And there was very little budget and so on to push ahead. And Rujopakarn at the time was one of the key persons to help us push the astronomy effort. But we knew that we were in a weakened state, and in order to move forward, we needed to not only have a team in place in Taiwan, but also abroad. And we also need to recruit people from abroad, because we did not have enough people to recruit from inside Taiwan, except within the physics community. Okay? So finding partners, we use our old friends and press them to help us and join projects, and that started with DIMA and then the SMA. Right? And interferometry was specifically chosen because of the leveraging of the funding, right? Because interferometry scales as n squared, so even though you add a linear part n in the number of telescopes, the money is then multiplied by this n squared. So even though adding 2 telescopes to the Smithsonian array was a big headache for them, they realized that actually they benefit by adding these 2, right? The speed doubled. So this was the way in which we get ourselves into the program, and also very conscious of the fact that we need to work on forefront projects. Because if we work on projects that people already are working on, by the time we're ready, people would have moved on, right? So by moving on, take the projects that are in the forefront, it gave us time to grow. So these were some strategies that we started, right? And most importantly, we recruited Fred Lowe. And because of Fred Lowe, we began in radio. So people ask, why did we start in radio? It really was because Fred could come back. And then we built the SMA. The SMA was really about building instruments. And that became the DNA of the Institute, which is to build instruments. That became something that both Fred and I in Typhoon, we all early on believed that the instrumentation is the key to get to the front in this field. Right? So as you can see in the first recruit, Ming Tang and Ming Jie were recruited out of the physics community, right? And Chen Jizhong also. And then the other one, Jeremy, Minho, and Nagayoshi, were people that we recruited from overseas. And then in the later years, we recruited mostly from within Taiwan. The students that we sent overseas, like the way over there, way out in the back, Yan Ting came back, you know. This was how we built up the institute over time. The plan first was to develop radio astronomy, as I explained, because of Fred. And then instrumentation was a very key part of that. And we had a lot of help from Wu Ma Kun at Tsinghua University. He helped us develop the low temperature receiver system, right? I mean, out of his group, we pulled Ming Jie out, you know, to make him come to us to work on the institute, right? And there's a whole story behind that, how he did it. But Yuan Qi was involved because, you know, his father was a general, so that gave him a lot of power to pull anybody he wanted. In those days, you know, there was no such thing as alternative service, right? But you do respond to the generals. So then we, of course, built a theory group. You know, that's Yuan Qi and Frank. People say that we did not think about theory enough. It's not true. We always thought about theory from the beginning. Okay, we want to build that up. And then the fourth, of course, was optical astronomy. And that didn't really start late. We actually started optical astronomy almost simultaneously with the radio part. And then collaborating with the university was a key thing. You know, we were tasked, I particularly was tasked by Yuan Li to work with the university. So in the radio part, we worked with NTU, both the physics and electrical engineering, which is very important, the electrical engineering part. And then with NCU, we worked on optical, and with theory, we worked with Tsinghua University. So this was this rough plan at the beginning, right? And the answer is that in targeted field, as we were doing, a very small group with a small project can actually do a lot in a small period of time, right? Key is that you have to focus on the things that you do. You can't do everything. You have to focus on a few things, and people have to work really hard, right? So, you know, one of my regrets is that I made our young people work very hard. I can look around the room, all these young people now have gray hair, right? They're now old people. So there were many key people involved, right? So here I just show, you know, some of the most important people involved. Of course, can I use the pointer view?
Yeah. Please.
Wu Daiyu and Typhoon, you know, was very important because Typhoon convinced Wu Daiyu to help us start the institute. Okay? And then after the institute started, the key people were Fred, Frank, and Yuan Qi. And then, very importantly, we worked a lot with Smithsonian. Right? Charles, you can see here, he'll give his talk later. And here is, you know, breaking ground for Taos in Mexico. Right? So, you know, he made huge contribution in the development of ASIAA. And then Norio Kaifu was extremely important in getting us started. He was an advisor for us inside the institute. But more importantly, he had the ear of Yuan Li. So when Yuan Li thought what we were doing, sometimes we would ask Norio whether we were doing a good job or not. And Norio was there to help us, right? And then of course, you know, all the Academy president, including James, is here to help us, right? So he's not here, so I can tell you, on that day I was pressing him to give us more money. That's why I was smiling and he wasn't smiling so much. And then we have strong support from industries. You know, I cannot say enough of what industry has done for us, right? And this is a key of Zhongshan Institute. Zhongshan Institute is our key industrial partner for 30 years now. They are involved in all of our projects. Dr. Chu will say a few words later. And here I point out all the important generals that have been helping us. You know, this is General Taam, who was president, followed by General Gao, who was also president, and General Jing Xi, who was advisor. You know, I don't have a picture of General King, you know, who also extremely important in helping us throughout this process in making us work. I always tell everyone, especially at the Zhonghe Yuan, that they are our ace in the hole, right? They are the ones who can back us up whenever we need to do something because they have 8,000 engineers, huge depth in technology, and their willingness to help promote the science that's pushed forward by the Academy is one of the reasons why we have been successful over the years. And then over here, actually pointing out Sicheng, who was the contractor for building this building. right? So I have to tell you that building this building was perhaps a bigger project than any of the other projects that we worked on. You know, it took us 10 years to build this building, and actually could not get a contractor to bid on this building. And the reason Sucheng was finally made the bid was because, you know, after 2 years of rallying around not getting anybody, I went to Ue-Li and asked Ue-Li to help find us a contractor, and he did. Years later, I said to Ue-Li, I said, "Thank you for this little help that you gave me." And he looks at me and says, "It was not a little help." It was not a little help. But these guys are the reasons why we're successful, right? Because in this country, the industry thinks what we were working on is important, and they help us, okay? And then, of course, most importantly, is the staff, right? So there are many staff, as you can see, with every director here throughout the years. Have been always with us. Some of them you can recognize have always been here for a long time. And here's a picture of Ue-Li, you know, from 10th anniversary. He was such a young man then. Have you seen this picture? It's great. I should blow it up to show you. But anyway, I show this because at all these parties, you know, usually they all look very good, except for when I was director. You know, this picture you might recognize as the Last Supper. So people are always looking at me to have the Last Supper and get out. So in terms of projects, there's two paths that we follow, okay? And they're actually simultaneously followed. And you can see the radio part, we start with the SMA, followed by Amoeba, followed by ALMA, followed by Greenland Telescope, and now into the Burst telescope. And then the optical, we start in TAOS, which became TAOS 2, and then the most important partner in optical astronomy was CFHT, where we cut our teeth in developing Wirecam, learning how to develop optical infrared camera, and that led to Spiro and continues to be our major partner in optical astronomy today. And then, of course, because we worked on ALMA, we also began to work on Subaru. Satoshi is here. He was the one who helped us. Should I tell the story what you said when we first talked together? He said, "Why should we work with you?" But after a while, we proved ourselves that we were okay, right? That we were actually able to deliver, you know, both on the HSC and the PFS. And now we're working on ELT on the METIS project. So these are the paths where we worked on one project after another. It sounds like we're working on a lot of projects, but actually they were serial in nature, right? They will not all be in parallel. And that's why we're able to carry this on. So this is the DNA of the Institute. We built instruments. So I review a few of the instruments. For example, going to submillimeter was a very important move because of the recognition of the dust emission and the spectral line emission scaling with the frequency to a very high power, right? So the submillimeter array, we contributed 2 telescopes to this array of 8. I always like to say, from a distance, you cannot tell which one is from Taiwan. And that shows you that we did a very good job in Taiwan to deliver those 2 telescopes. And they actually got onto the mountain at the same time as the Smithsonian telescopes. And this one I always want to show because this is actually what Ming-J has done over the years. And this is to establish the low temperature physics fabrication facility. It is a world-class facility. Very few of them exist. And we built this facility coming from Tsinghua University out of Wu-Ma Kun's group, but most importantly, with huge help from NAOJ. You know, without NAOJ, we could not get going on this. So actually, with their help, we were able to eventually be able to fabricate these things, and this was a huge thing that we were able to contribute in the end in being able to build these junctions. Now we build junctions for all of our arrays, both for the SMA and also capable for ALMA, and lately we are also developing receivers that we're fielding in the Greenland telescope as well as JCMT. These are all coming out of these junctions that's being fabricated by Ming-J's lab. And of course, the SMA, once into the field, produced a lot of science. Actually, in these 20 years, 10 years or so, about 1,000 papers has been published from the SMA, and we have about 10% of the first papers. And I just point out this field structure, which is one of the things that now followed on by ALMA, and then the filamentary structures of clouds. These are all now ALMA projects, and the SMA is indeed the forerunner to ALMA in setting up some of these projects to be done. And of course, we built Amoeba. This is a project together with Taiwan University, National Taiwan University. We together built this array for studying the microwave background. The most important part of this is the training of the scientists and the engineers in the institute, because this is the first project where we went from the beginning to the end, where we have to put everything together. So the entire thing being built was very important to be able to prove that we can actually make a system work all the way through, and that this system has evolved now into other projects over time. But through that, we also developed lots of capabilities in terms of mimic devices and also in terms of digital devices, which are also a strong suit in the institute. And then, of course, ALMA was a huge project. The fact that we were able to join NAOJ in the ALMA-J project was critical for us to continue from the submillimeter array forward, and we were able to integrate the front-end systems. At the time, I remember Hasegawa-san says to us, "You should build a front-end integration center." And I said, "Why should we do that? You know, Europe has one and America has one. Why should Asia build things just to duplicate?" And Hasegawa-san was very clever, very clear to me. He says, "They will not do it for us. They will do theirs and they won't do ours. So we have to do it." And in the end, we did ours, and we finished fast enough that we actually did theirs, right? And that's due to Zhongguo being very efficient in actually producing. There's a whole story behind that as to how they were able to do this, but this was a very important achievement for ALMA within Taiwan. And then this was dedication, inauguration in 2013. The two key people here is Frank Chu, who of course started the Institute, and Wu-Ma, who at the time was the chairman of the National Science Council, who made the decision that we could join ALMA in Taiwan. And then this was the day when it was inaugurated, and this is very important, right? This is the Vice Minister of the Taiwan NSC sitting together with the NSF director. You have to remember, you know, U.S. does not recognize Taiwan. We are not supposed to talk to them directly. Even sitting at a table is a problem, right? So this is, on the political side, a huge achievement for us to be able to be in the same discussion. And then the Greenland Telescope was deployed coming out of ALMA in order to extend ALMA's capabilities, to have the northernmost station, to extend the VLBI capabilities. And this was completed very quickly using the ALMA prototype from the North America, and it was deployed in 2017. And you can see a large group of people here working on the telescope, and half of them, in fact, came from Zhongguo, who provided the engineering support for us to do this. And of course, this builds the largest telescopes in the world by having this global array, and the Greenland Telescope really at its important baselines in order to achieve this very high resolution by having these very long baseline tracks. So on the optical side, of course, we didn't stand still. We've developed TAOS 1 and TAOS 2, and I would say Charles very generously allowed Matt Langer to be hired by us. And I said to Matt at the time, I remember, "If you come work for us, then we'll build TAOS 2. And he said, "Okay." And that's how the decision was made. Of course, after that, we had to raise money and stuff. The other person very important in TAOS project, TAOS 2, was actually Tim Norton. You know, Tim Norton was also introduced to us by Charles, and later on tasked to us to work on the Greenland Telescope. He's now SMA director, and he has been a key person for us to collaborate with. So this project is together with the Smithsonian, and now it's fielded into Mexico, and it's doing well. And CFHT is a long collaboration for a long time, as I mentioned, long-term collaborating in the optical astronomy for Taiwan to grow. And together, we have built the instrument. We've also do the science, and now many papers have been published over the years building up our optical astronomy. So the CFHT provided that platform where we can access frontline large telescopes that we can get to. Of course, this is followed by Subaru, and this high prime camera that we delivered for HSC. We developed the filter exchanger. This was again built by Zhongguo, a very delicate instrument to exchange the filters. This was a very hard piece of work that was done, that has been delivered, and the survey has been ongoing for some time now. And now we're in the middle of working on the prime focus spectrometer, which has, our part has been delivered, and I think the survey will begin in a year or so, right? Have I got that right? So we're waiting for the spectrometer still to be delivered from France. So good science takes time. You will note on the left here, of course, Wu Dayu and Yu-Li, and also Liu Tahan in the back. They were the key people to push the institute forward. And this other young person, anybody can recognize? That's Ming Han. You know, and, after some time, he's lost something. So science takes time and effort. And then science must be led from the top, as I mentioned. We couldn't do all these things without the Academy president who has been supporting us throughout the years. And the fact that the flag flies in Mauna Kea, flag flies in Mexico, flag flies in Chile is due to the strong support from our Academy president at the time. So I'll stop there.
Thank you.
We don't have QA. Do we need QA?
Questions and
Is there any cues? I have some names.
how dare you are? Okay. Any questions?
Well, it's been a long trip for us, right, to get to this point, and many of the young people that I hired are now mid-careers, and they've all done fantastically well. So I always say the people is the most important part of the institute or any organization. The fact that we're very good scientists and engineers, a very large, productive group, is the institute. It's not the project, it's the people.
Thank you. Okay, and next coming up was the director of 2003 to 2005. And now he is a professor of Hong Kong. And let's welcome Dr. Saku. Sorry for the technical issue. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Dr. Saku.
First, let me say I'm extremely happy to be here, back to this beautiful country, and seeing many of my old friends. I must apologize that I haven't come back as often as I wish due to my many duties and commitments, but I'm very glad to this time. I thank the Director Pen and Wang Shanyu for inviting me to have the chance to renew some of the acquaintances that I have in the past. Now, since Typhoon and Paul have already given a lot, can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because it seems to be a little faint from here. Typhoon and Paul have already talked about a lot of the achievements and history of the Institute. I'll limit myself to the small interaction I have had with the Institute from the early 1990s. Now, some of you know that I was born in British Hong Kong, and although a little different in terms of academic career because I went to a Chinese school and had a classical Chinese education. So when I came to Taiwan, seeing that Taiwan actually had preserved many of the heritage, cultural heritage of China, I really felt very much at home here. And I began visiting in the early 1990s as part of a group of overseas astronomers of Chinese origin. At that time, there were only very few of us. And of course, as Paul has said, the situation now is very different. And we had the opportunity to talk to President Liao, and in the hope that he would reinstitute in the academy research in astronomy, which actually was part of the academy when he was on the mainland. And so after the preparatory office was established, I was asked to join as a a member of the advisory panel. I am fortunate to spend sabbatical time here at the invitation of Typhoon Lee, and actually joined as a member of the group in 2003. Now, one of my main duties actually at that time was to get this building built, and it was a very complicated task because it involved 4 institutes in this building and 2 entities, University of Taiwan and also the Academy Sinica, and also many of the civil city government officials. So it was a very complicated task. Just to give you a little bit of flavor of what we have to deal with. Many discussions and meetings we have whether one can cut down a tree, or we are allowed to demolish an old dormitory building because some people consider that building to be heritage and things like that. So I'm really glad that I'm finally here, sitting in this auditorium, although in the past I've only seen it on paper. So now I have been, because I came from a university background, I really value very much the relationship with the Taiwanese universities, because when I first arrived, many people have told me that, oh, you guys at the academy are really rich, we are poor, we can't do anything because NSC has much limited budget and so on. So I tried as much as I could to promote collaborations. In particular, President Liao was very encouraged to have astronomy and space science developed as part of the National Central University, and of course later the research was also established in both Tsinghua as well as the Sichuan. And maybe what's the most wisest thing to do? I also volunteer to teach both at Tsinghua and Taidam. Served as unpaid adjunct professor. I gave a course on the medium, and later which the course material based on my previous teaching in Canada developed into a book which now used in many universities, including Caltech, as a primary text on interstellar medium. Now, as Paul has mentioned, that there have been many telescope projects that the institute was involved in, and I was mostly focused on the SMA, which Jim Moran, an old friend of mine, was a counterpart at CFA, and also at the beginning trying to negotiate with NAOJ so that Taiwan can become a partner in the future project of ALMA. So again, the whole political process are not trivial. I mean, one of the things I hope to achieve is to allow Taiwan with meaningful participation both in the governance and also the scientific operation of the telescope, ALMA, and not just a provider of cash, and of course in providing technical input into the project. So now we were very fortunate that SMA had started operating in 2004, and I was very much want to urge our staff to make maximum use of the telescope, because it was a unique project at that time, and we should maximize the scientific return of our technical investment into the project. And also we negotiated access to the Canadian Friends Hawaii telescope as well as the solar radio telescope, so that our research staff would have access to do science that are not complementary, but they are complementary to what can be done with the SMA. So that just to remind ourselves that our existence is not just technical development, but also the eventually will be recognized by how much science we are able to generate. So I'm keen about interdisciplinary research, primarily because personally I'm interested in chemistry and molecules. So we have pre-applied interaction with the Institute of Atomic Molecular Sciences, and also in terms of planetary science, interaction with the Institute of Earth Science. And it's really, because it has its base organization, there are 30-some institutes, and we, in my mind, and some of my colleagues, is not really, we haven't done enough to take advantage of the wide existence of very high quality expertise that exists around the 30-some institutes. And so I was hoping that in particular on the campus of Taam, where IAMS and us are the only two institutes present on this campus, we really can have a much closer collaboration. So at that time, we have retreats and institute director meetings and so on. And there are some directors who are also coming from overseas, and we have some very useful discussions in terms of what kind of reforms that could take place in terms of governance, human resources, and budgetary allocations, and so on. None of these things are easy. So within the institute itself, I try to change a little bit in terms of our own budget allocation, based more less on the rule of one person and of a collective group of institute investigators. But unfortunately, some of this reform did not take place, and I was no longer I have the very good continue. Now, one of the key things I am always passionate about popularization of science. I mean, during my time here, I gave a lot of talks at universities, museums, and also at the kind invitation of President Lee, I gave 2 talks at the Academy. And so just to get across to the general public and our university students and so on, that astronomy is not some thing which are totally unrelated to our lives and which is relevant to everyone should be concerned about. So it was a lot of fun for me to be able to go around the country and give all these talks. Now, one thing which is quite unique in this institute are the social programs. Now, these will never work in North America. No one would want to go to vacation with your colleagues, right? So every year we have a vacation trip, taking a period of 2-3 days, and we went to very nice exotic places, and we had good time to chat with each other, and for many of our staff, actually, a chance to talk to people which belong in the same institute, but they don't see on an everyday basis, you know. And so because we have technicians and working on different projects, and we may not see each other, so getting all together on a trip actually have a wonderful opportunity for us to get to know each other and actually begin collaborations on a professional basis. So particularly I enjoyed the trip to Green Island, which is beautiful beyond belief. And for some of you visitors, if you are spending time in Taiwan, I really wish you have a chance to go to the East Coast and see some of these beautiful places of the island of Taiwan. Of course, like Paul has mentioned, the most important thing are people. Really, the most, like to me personally, it has been a wonderful experience having been active and worked with such a wonderful group of people. And I always remember them. I hope they will not forget me totally. It was by the time that I was leaving, it was really quite sad. And but some of you hope know that you are always in my heart. And I went from here to the University of Hong Kong, and it was at a time that the University of Hong Kong had undergone comprehensive governance reform. So I was hired as, together with 9 other people from the UK, from Australia, from the United States, to become the first generation of executive deans. And we were very lucky that we are in the expansionary period. I was during my two terms of tenure as dean, I was able to hire over 70 new academic staff coming from 27 different countries. So, and to close to my heart, I was able to reform the curriculum, which actually written up in this article published in Nature Astronomy. So, this, to me, now I'm getting old and trying to think back to the times in Taiwan, and I really have very good fond memories. I am glad to be at this place during the time of formation and growth, and I enjoy living in this beautiful country, and in particular, the treasure, the many friendships with many of my colleagues. That's my humble contribution. Thank you.
So the next coming up, as you know, Taiwan has female president. And this is our honor to also have female director from 2014 to 2020. And she always calls herself as Lao Lao in Chinese. Everybody calls me Lao Lao. Her, sorry. So her Lao Lao. So that means a peaceful grandmother. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. You-Hua.
So the first slide says HA. Okay, 30 is the year that Confucius decided he became an independent thinker, and he can have clear conscious mind and everything. So Asia is 30 years old now, and everything is in order, right? So when I came in 2014, Paul has already set up the institute, and he started all these big projects. So everything is kind of in order, except he has all the plan. A great plan needs to be executed. When I came, I said, 我要人才，不要奴才. I want talents, I don't want servants. But in fact, when I came, I was kind of like a servant. The biggest problem that we had at the time was that two issues. I remember particularly two important issues that I had to solve. One is been one, great project, excellent, okay, I'm very proud of it. But where does money come from? Okay, I came and he said, you have to come up with $10 million. He said, US dollars, okay, not Taiwanese dollars. $10 million US dollars? Where do I go find this money? Well, I have 3 kids, even myself, and I can't come up with $10 million. So I negotiated and kind of tried everything, and thanks to other projects, okay, they kind of tighten their belt and say, okay, we can do that, then one have the money first. And then NAOJ, I really think NAOJ, they're very accommodating, they do everything they can to help. And finally, we completed Band 1. That's a great project, and thanks to NAOJ's cooperation. So that's the first thing, the money is solved. The second one, Greenland Telescope, that's a very important project. But at one point, there was some kind of a, the SMA director, Ray Blundell, wants the telescope to be shipped to New Hampshire to be tested for 2 years. And then someone saying, no, we can't do that. If we do that, then we'll lose time. So thanks to Charles, and he graciously overrode what Ray Blundell's decision. So Ray wasn't very happy, but we're happy. So Greenland Telescope was shipped to Greenland in 2017. So I did my Nusai bit. So I was a servant, helped with the project completed. And then the first part, the the talent. I want talent. So I want people to, don't listen to me. Do your own thing. Have independent thinking. Okay. Confucius will start independent thinking in the year 30. You guys are all over 30. So you should all be able to think things yourself. Have a clear conscience and make the right decision. Don't just listen to me blindly. Okay. So after these years, I'm very happy to see so many people getting distinguished research award from the funding agency. And then all these, many of you, okay, not all, but many of you become really independent thinker and become approaching and advancing to the leadership position, kind of gradually, somewhat rapidly, somewhat gradually. But I'm very happy to see people kind of growing very nicely, okay? And the institute and the people. I think in the institute, the most important are the people. When people are doing well, the institute is doing well. So I stepped down 2 years ago. So that's me. 拿得起放得下. I can pick up the job, I can leave it. When I stepped down, and that was it. Okay, I returned to my research, and do my own things. And now, this year, it's 30-year anniversary for ASIAA, and for me, I'll end with what Confucius said. When he said, when I was 15, I decided to be a scholar. I wanted to learn and become a scholar. When I was 30, I became an independent thinker, I was independent. And in this long sentence, at the end, he said, when I'm 30, I do whatever I want, but do not violate any law. So that's what I am. So this year I'm becoming 70, so I can do whatever I want without violating the law. So my last slide. So the age of ASIAA and my age together, that's a century, okay? So together we're 100 years old, it's a whole century. So happy anniversary to ASIAA and happy 70th birthday to myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ue-Li again. And next coming up is our friend from the industry, the ex-director of CFHT, 中山科学研究院. And right now he's the director of the advanced project. Let's welcome Dr. Chu-Hsiang.
Okay. No technical things here. No. Originally, Xiang gave me a 20-minute slot so that I can have my presentation here. And when he sent me an email, asked for me for the PowerPoint material, I did help. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and Dr. Pen. It's strange, you know. It's ahead of schedule. According to the agenda, I will be here right before the lunchtime, and it's around noontime. And it's still 40 minutes. I mean, it's strange. It's because when we work with IAA, my people always come to me and complain. Since when we do those defense or dual-use projects, we got the fixed budget, set schedule, and all the quality requirements are written. But our people work with youth scientists. They always said, it's strange. They changed their mind. They change things, and we don't know how to do after that. So, but it's great since we got a very long history to work with IAA from probably the first project, the SMA. And since I should thank Paul for his introduction and a lot of good words before that. Actually, he said the most of what I planned to say, so I leave my notes over there. It's great to work with IAA, and I think the benefit is twofold. Not only we design, analyze, build, and test those equipments and the instrument for you, and you got what you want. On the other hand, our people have the chance to work with probably the brightest minds in this country, in this top institute on astronomy. They got a chance to go abroad to work with a lot of industry people of foreign country, get more experience first, both on the specialty side and the personal side. So it's great to have the chance to being the help hands behind your achievement. My background is aeronautic engineering. I would say that we are the air right under your wings. So you can fly a little bit higher, longer, and that's what we do. Congratulations for the 30th anniversary, and hopefully you got a more achievement to go in the next decade. And just like the traditional Chinese blessing, I wish all of you a healthy, happy, and good fortune life. And probably I'll see you all in 2033. I think so. Originally, I would just like to say, let's eat, but it's too early, right? So, got someone to hold my next. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome the Director General from National Observatory of Japan, Dr. Tsuneta.
It is a great honor to be invited to be here to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the ASIAA. On behalf of the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan and National Institute of Natural Sciences, we congratulate your continued success, and I will talk about the 18 years of collaboration and beyond. So today, I would like to look back. It's not shown here. Another small program. Today, I would like to look back at our 18 years of collaboration through the Subaru telescope and ALMA, and emphasize how the success in these collaborations have now evolved into the impetus for the NAOJ future engagement with the ASIAA. First, let me talk about the hyper-sweep cam, ultra-wide-field UCCD camera. Late October 2005, Dr. Xiang Yu visited us at the Hero office of the Subaru telescope to talk about possible collaborations. And Miyazaki-san and Nakaya-san explained about their plan of a new camera, which we will now call Hyper-Sweep Cam, HSC. ASI made a very wise decision to join the project and became HSC's first overseas partner. In 2007, with a substantial amount of the budget secured in Japan, the project officially started. ASIAA agreed to participate in the sensor testing and to provide a very difficult future exchange unit of HSC. And based on the NTC engineer, Ulagi's initial preliminary design from the filter exchange unit, ASIAA and its partner ASRD successfully turned it into reality and delivered FEU to Japan in 2011. So our on-site joint work for final assembly and testing further brought about the real benefits of collaboration through sharing of the ideas and experience. And commissioning and operation. In 2012, together with ASIAA scientists and ASRD engineers, we started the commissioning run. Our joint team navigates through challenges presented by HST's complexity with valuable lessons learned along the way. They effectively found a path towards smooth operation. And the ASIAA also contributed to the science in a significant way. ASIAA is renowned as the powerhouse of scientists who make full use of HSC dataset and contribute to a significant fraction of papers based on HSC dataset, especially on cosmology and cluster of galaxies. They include Dr. Keiichi Umetsu, Dr. Yen-Tin Lin, and Dr. Teppei Okumura. Even every few years, our Taiwanese team comes back to Subaru on site to carry out a preventive maintenance of FEU. So our 18 years of collaboration has definitely proved that the ASIAA is NAOJ's indispensable partner. And moving to prime focus spectrograph, and this is a very complicated instrument, and the key components are scattered all over the Subaru main structure. And metrology camera system, ASIAA designed and built this complicated vital system to accurately locate final positions. And ASIAA also developed PFI and a chassis to hold the filter positioners and to provide the interface with the prime focus unit. With all the components inside the PFI shipped to Taiwan, and its team led the final assembly. ASIAA continues to support Subaru for troubleshooting of PFI, and MCS, as well as to boost their performance. And another page on PFS, which is scientific contribution to PFS. In addition to its technical contribution, ASIAA scientists play a critical role in preparation of a PSF science program in all areas. Among them, Dr. Yen-Tin Lin demonstrated his outstanding leadership in securing the deep near-infrared image data for PFS deep field, which is crucial to select sample galaxies in the equal 1 to 2. And we are entering a Subaru 2.0 phase, and this ultimate is the prime instrument for Subaru 2.0, which is an adaptive optics corrected wide field of view infrared camera. And Subaru people are working hard to make it happen. The success in the collaboration with ASIAA for HSC and the PFS was a major driver for NAOJ to decide to further partner with ASIAA when opening a new chapter of the Subaru telescope, which is Subaru 2.0. And Ultimate Subaru and ASIAA contributed to the conceptual design studies of the Ultimate Subaru instruments. It led the conceptual design of the works upgrade to be used with the Grand-Ray Adaptive Optics called GLAO, and participated in the conceptual design of the GLAO and the wide field near-infrared camera called WFI. And expectations from our side for future contribution, as WFI plus GLAO is now a first-line instrument for Ultimate Subaru. NAOJ looks forward to working with the ASIAA for validating the GLAO calculation system performance and developing WFI towards the final design and production phases. Teaming with ASIAA has produced results that are far more than the sum of the two and has raised our hopes high enough for more collaborations. And going to the ALMA, which is another major, highly successful collaboration between ASIAA and NAOJ. So also in the field of radio astronomy, NAOJ has been enjoying a strong, fulfilling relationship with ASIAA for the last 18 years. Our partnership in radio astronomy began when NAOJ and ASIAA entered an agreement to collaborate on ALMA construction from the early days of the formal ALMA construction project in September 2005. Just about 1 year after the trilateral ALMA was established in September 2004. So ASIAA took the responsibility, very serious responsibility, to establish the East Asian Front-End Integration Center to integrate and test the ALMA front-end before delivery to Chile. This turned out to be a great success. And the FEIC Front-End Integration Center received receivers from the institutes in charge of their construction and integrated and tested them in ALMA cryostat. When the full front-end was ready, it was shipped to the ALMA site. ASIAA and collaborators succeeded in delivering all front-end under East Asian responsibility in a timely manner. One of the test lines was sent to the OSF, where it continued to be the key for the maintenance of the ALMA receivers in the years ahead. So much of the gained technical expertise and established facilities contribute to the ALMA 1-1 development project that was done here in ASIAA. And after the completion of the construction and start of operation, NAOJ and ASIAA extended the collaboration in East Asian ALMA in July 2015 for another 10 additional years, including the 1-1 receiver development project and the contribution to the off-site science operations through the Taiwan node of the East Asian ALMA Regional Center in Mitaka. So through NAOJ means ASIAA was represented in the ALMA board until 2022 and has been represented in the ALMA Science Advisory Committee from 2023. And 1-1 is a major contribution from the ASIAA and Taiwan to ALMA. It consists of the delivery of 73 receivers from 35 to 50 GHz frequency band, plus 7 additional receivers to NAOJ for maintenance purposes. It was done through an international team involving not only ASIAA and NAOJ, but also NRAO, Canadian HIA, and the University of Chile. So initial discussion for new receivers started in the first 1-1 workshop in Victoria, Canada, as early as in 2008. An initial development consortium was established in 2012 with PDL in July 2013 and CDL in January 2016. 1-1 production was approved by the ALMA board as an East Asian project in 2016. It took some time to agree on the organizational structure and the processes toward production, but all issues were solved through frank communication between NAOJ and ASIAA. And this is the chronology of the development of the Band 1. I don't need to read all of this, but as early as in September 2019, first receiver was delivered on site to check cryostat performance. And March 2023, all 66 receivers shipped to Chile from ASIAA. So it's an extremely rapid, successful process to complete the 1-1 receiver. I think this is ASIAA's great accomplishment. And ASIAA Band 1 team was awarded the 2021 NAOJ Director General Prize. Congratulations. innovative technical research applied to Band 1. Close collaboration between NAOJ and ASIAA team achieved success in the first endeavor to use 3D printing for key components in the millimeter wave receivers. NAOJ Advanced Technology Center developed corrugated film form by all metal 3D printing, and ASIAA tested it at private temperatures. So after a successful demonstration of performance with the joint work, the NAOJ team delivered the final unit of Band 1 production feed form using this fabrication technique. And the Band 1 commissioning and science verification. ALMA Band 1 will be offered for the first time to the community from 2024 March after the successful commissioning of the observing system. So observation process and data reduction for commissioning were done under the collaboration between ASIAA and NAOJ. And science verification observation on High-mass star forming region, W51, continuing and several spectral lines were carried out in March, April 2020. The data and images will be released to the community quite soon. Data reduction and imaging were led by ASIAA and NAOJ. And the science collaboration, we have a lot of accomplishment by the ASI scientists together with the NAOJ scientists. I don't need to read. And the science collaboration, here ALMA Science Workshop, and this is to promote, stimulate international collaboration among the researchers in East Asian partners by reviewing and sharing the most recent ALMA science results in all relevant fields of astronomy. A total of 11 workshops since 2012, 4 times in Taiwan, 2 times Japan, 3 Korea, and 2 virtual. It is very important to continue regularly this kind of activities, and it has been done. So prospect of collaboration in radio astronomy, NAOJ is very pleased to continue to collaborate with ASIAA through ALMA for 10 more years. This will encourage scientific exchanges between Japan and Taiwan, and technical collaboration between NAOJ and ASIAA. In particular, NAOJ is looking forward to collaborating with ASIAA towards the ALMA 2030 wideband sensitivity upgrade in the coming few years. In terms of future facilities, both NAOJ and ASIAA are prospective partners of NARAO in the construction and operation of NGVLA. This NGVLA project is very exciting for our institutes and communities, institutes and communities due to its remarkable scientific technology synergies with ALMA, which would allow us to make the most of our experience and know-how developed for ALMA in the last 20 years. And let me talk about East Asian Core Observatories Association, EA-Core, and East Asian Observatories. EA-Core aims to bring East Asia at the forefront of astronomical research through collaboration. Its activity includes these in addition to the EA-Core Fellowship. And formed in 2015 by EA-Core, EAO is now expanding its presence beyond East Asia. So NAOJ has been supporting the concept of EAO, and EAO, the initial spirit is highly recognized by me and the NAOJ scientists. In particular, EAO Core, EAO Fellowship Program, and this is a highly successful scholarship program. EA-Core Fellowship Program provides postdoctoral researchers with the opportunity to broaden, deepen their expertise and experience by undertaking joint research at the 2 more EA-Core member institutes during the 3-year appointment. So it's a busy 3 years. The postgraduate scientist has to spend at least 2 institutes during the 3 years. And likewise, we have a successful EAO Fellowship Program. NAOJ want to continue to support this kind of activity. And so much for the collaboration between NAOJ and ASIAA. But many people have been asking me about the status of the TMT. So if you're okay, I want to explain the latest status of the 30-meter telescope project here. And everyone is familiar with the top-level science goals of the 30 to 40-meter telescopes and direct imaging of Earth-like planets and such biosignatures, identifying the first stars in the universe, characterizing dark energy and fate of the universe and multi-messenger astronomy. And the first direct instrument is for TMT, is IRIS and WFORCE and WORIS. And the second generation instrument contains a more sophisticated exoplanet instrument. Here, I'm talking only about TMT, but I should stress that the GMT is our partner telescope in the framework of the United States ELT program. So we are communicating positively, collaborating positively, and we are not fighting at all. So don't worry about that. So here I only talk about TMT under the framework of the US ELT program. And the status of the TMT construction, and very unfortunately, in 2015, on-site construction suspended due to protests. We tried again, 2019, effort to restart construction stalls. So we are stopped by Native Hawaiian people 2 times. And that discouraged the TMT people in a significant way, including myself. So after the 2020, in 2020 and after the 2019 event, in 2020 and 2021, we reviewed our approach to the Native Hawaiian problem and completely changed the strategy to solve the Native Hawaiian people. And it is through conversation and trust. So we phased the relocation of the TIO headquarters from Pasadena to Hilo. And the TMT project manager and the NAOJ TMT project manager who are working together relocated to Hilo. So TMT people started to live in Hilo and trying to talk with its neighborhood. And they have been very successful. This is the picture taken in 2019. Atmosphere at that time was extremely tense. And in 2021, this is not just a snapshot. We have Dr. Usuda, Dr. Fenchan Liu to leadership of the TMT, but all these people are really hardliner Native Hawaiians who was against the TMT in 2019. But they are happy to talk now these days. So this is just not just a photograph. It is a very important photo showing that Native Hawaiian hardliner and TM people started conversation. So following that, and new Mauna Kea Authority was established, and the NSF review process started, PDL successfully done, and the US government money comes to both TMT and GMT, 6.5 million, and more money will come to both GMT and TMT. And NAOJ's perspective on the situation in Hawaii and NSF, NAOJ and the government of Japan, effectively Ministry of Education, is confident that on-site construction of TMT will resume in a timely manner due to the following reasons. Number one, considerable improvement have been observed regarding the situation in Hawaii, and the TIO through the past Hilo-based community engagement activities with a strong focus on trust building, which is in-person dialogue with Native Hawaiians and other communities, educational support, etc., considerably softer ground in Hawaii. With enhanced native Hawaiian participation in the decision-making process, new Mauna Kea Management Authority called Mauna Kea Stewardship and Oversight Authority called MKSOA holds the promises of resolving long-standing issues of Mauna Kea management, which will be a significant step for the way forward for TMT. And the NSF's review process for the UST program in response to the US Academy's top priority evaluation of USAT in ASIAA 2020, NSF has initiated a review process for impact into environmental and historic properties with strengthened community engagement in Hawaii. The process is underway as of October 2023. NSF continue to follow the necessary procedure for its participation in the project. And completed the preliminary design review with a very favorable report from the panel stating that the project has clearly demonstrated its ability to recognize and address obstacle, which is a Hawaiian issue. And TMT project is judged to be ready to proceed into the NSF finally design phase. NSF the internal review is ongoing to proceed to the FDR phase. So it's delaying, but I think we are in good shape in these two fronts. And this is Japan's in-kind contribution for TMT. We are soliciting international partners for double force and second generation instrument, exoplanet instrument to work with us. And this is a conclusion, era of alliance and international collaboration. NAOJ strongly hopes to continuously enhance the partnership with the ASIAA, no question about that. And given the next generation project scale and the constant pursuit of the technological innovation, international collaboration is vital for pushing back the frontiers of astronomy and astrophysics. No country can do everything, even the United States, and Japan cannot do everything. We need alliance and trust to do the good job for astronomy and astrophysics. With a shared value in the area of science and technology, both NAOJ and the ASIAA have demonstrated to each other that our joint work has unlocked the potential of the institutions and has created an innovative force to find solutions to unprecedented challenges. NAOJ has also witnessed at first hand ASIAA's transformation into a world-class institute for its proven growth in science and technology. Our successful collaborations through Subaru Telescope and ALMA have become the impetus for NAOJ's future engagement with the ASIAA. And the ASIAA's contribution to our work is extremely well received in Japan and in the NAOJ. ASIAA is and will continue to be the NAOJ's vital partner. Therefore, thank you very much.
Of Japan. Yes, thank you. So next coming up, let's welcome the director, ex-director of CFA, Charles Alcock.
So I've had two different qualities of collaboration with ASIAA. I've had a significant collaboration with the Taiwanese American Occultation Survey, which is renamed on the next famous picture to its Trans-Neptunian. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. So, well, I have a collaboration with Shang Yuan, Matt Lehner, and a significant group of young people here. And that's actually continues to be a very rewarding collaboration for me personally. So I will interleave my experiences with with touts, with the comments on leadership, which I think matter a great deal. And I'm not the only person to touts. So this is just a list, more or less in chronological order, of the directors of ASIAA during the time with which I've been collaborating, and that extends back well into the preparatory office phase. And where it says 2x, it means that the individual, Typhoon in particular, or Fred Lowe, had 2 periods as director with some information between them. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this in any detail, but I'm going to my pencil. No, next page. This one goes to the next page.
That is the next page.
Maybe the bottom one.
Just hasn't converted to the PDF.
Okay, let's make sure this works again. So you use this one? Yeah, this one. Okay. So Typhoon is justified to be mentioned a great deal in these presentations. It's worth knowing a little bit more about him because I suspect a number of more junior people don't realize that Typhoon did his PhD at Caltech in the 1970s. And the two of us were actually in Caltech more or less at the same period of time, but our paths didn't cross very much because he was in the geology and geophysics department and I was in astronomy. But at the very end, his work with Jean-Gabril on meteorites led to a truly major discovery. The discovery of the decay product magnesium-26 from the radioactive decay of aluminum-26 in the Yen meteorite. And that was a real coup and kind of established Typhoon in that community at the start, even though he was just finishing his PhD. So that kind of gives me a sense of how things managed to go so well at the beginning when Typhoon was leading things. So he played a major role in the establishment of the IAA, and he brought the IAA to the sub-millimeter array collaboration, and he's been collaborating with the CFA through. So this is Typhoon, you all know him. This is an early meeting when a number of my collaborators came to ASIAA to this works. So I'll just go from the left. There's Typhoon on the left. Claudia Lema, who was the postdoc at NCU at the time. This one. Okay, try. Oh, great. So that's Typhoon, Claudia, Stuart Marshall, who now was working for me a little more at the time. He now works for the Stanford Linear Accelerator Corporation. Here's Wenping Chen, who has been a terrific collaborator, and this is, blanking out his name, but he was head of the national park in which the Lulin Observatory was located. This is me. I think you really need to change your appearance when you get much older. But, and here's Ken Kwok and Tim Axelrod, both of whom contributed significantly, but Ken at least has largely backed away. So, Typhoon was a founding collaborator on the Taiwanese American Occultation Survey. And that survey did not detect any occultations of bright stars by corporeal objects, but it does establish a lot of the challenges that we needed to face if we wanted to build a truly successful program. And so that went on to become the Taiwanese American Occultation, the TOUS 2 project. So this is the next director who played a profound role in the collaboration with the CFA. So Fred did his PhD at MIT in the 1970s, and then he took a postdoc at Caltech, where I actually did get to know him fairly well. So there were the three of us all at Caltech in the mid-70s. Then I think he may have had an intermediate position, but he ended up as a full professor at the University of Illinois until he was recruited to become the director of ASIAA in 1997. And he understood the motivation for getting into full-scale instrumentation more or less right at the moment he came into the position. should not be a surprise because I think he was regularly in contact with Typhoon and people here. But there's one piece of the story that I never forget, but very few people know about it. That Fred actually introduced me to ASIAA and brought us together to establish the Taiwanese American Occultation Survey. Now this is a little bit out of schedule, because I've heard several slides back, but I've made each slide about a particular director, so that's why it's here. And then, following Fred's departure to become director of the NRAO in 2002, Paul was stepped in to become acting director, and then he came in again after some point. So Fred, at that point in time, was already an NRAO, and he suggested to Paul and to me that the CFA, in particular the SAO, put in a bid for one of two ALMA prototype antennas that had basically succeeded in their profiles, and were just waiting for somebody to deliver them at the VLA site. So this is what led to the Greenland Telescope project that we've heard about a number of times today. Paul and his collaborators at ASIAA were very enthusiastic. This became what we now call the Greenland Telescope. So here's Paul. And moving along, this is the other director I wanted to highlight, is You-Hua, who was then also at Illinois. And she was recruited to lead ASIAA after Paul stepped down. Now, not many people know this, but there was some very substantial budgeting challenges at the CFA, and I think there were analogs of them also here at ASIAA during that period. And I found You-Hua exceptionally good to work with when there was a risk that one of us was going to say to the other, no, we can't do that. So it's continued this very good relationship that we have between two institutions. Now I've got a special note that I want to come to. This is Xiang Yuan. He was identified on that slide several slides earlier as the penultimate director. He was acting director at ASIAA between Paul's departure and Wei-Li coming into the position. Xiang Yu was trained as an engineer, and he just heard about this from my previous speaker, major contributions to a number of collaborations between ASIAA and NAOJ. And he became the co-leader of the TAOS project, now renamed TAOS 2. I had become director of the Center for Astrophysics, and I really didn't have time to contribute in any significant way. But he's built these amazing cameras, which I really do suggest you all get a hold of them and discuss it with them if you're curious. They're the fastest astronomical cameras in history. They operate at 20 hertz, following 10,000 stars on each of 3 telescopes located in Baja Peninsula. I think Paul showed us breaking ground for that observatory in one of his slides. So this system will make 600,000 photometric measurements per second, looking for the occultations of those white stars by quite well objects and possibly some inner cloud objects. So that's all I wanted to say about a selected number of directors. I can't really speak in the same way about Wei-Li because we're new to each other. And I was stepping down from CFA within the same year that Wei-Li was coming into this position here. So I do want to make a kind of editorial comment on some of the facilities that we've worked on together. I'd say the sub-millimeter array, that collaboration was initiated by SAO, which is one of the partners to the Center for Astrophysics. And it was originally going to be a 6-element interferometer. But in the discussions to bring ASIAA into the project, it was agreed that they would contribute 2 additional antennas to bring it up to 8. And as was pointed out earlier, that makes the system twice as fast, or almost twice as fast. And furthermore, the Taiwanese collaborators, led by Typhoon at the beginning, they wanted to do the whole project in Taiwan. They did not want to just send money to somewhere else, like West Germany, to have them build the antennas. And so this picture here in the front is a view across the caldera in Mauna Kea. This is a close-up of one of the telescopes. It's a 6-meter telescope. And this shows the potential locations, because there are 3 operational arrangements the SMA right now. In principle 4, but 3 are occupied most of the time. And this is just an ongoing project which actually is more straightforward to do than with ALMA. Is a strip at the galactic center that's about 3 degrees across is being mapped at a high degree of completion and complexity. So now Greenland. Now, Greenland is an interesting experiment institutionally as well as astronomically. The telescope is a precursor to the ALMA telescopes. And this is one that was suggested to us by Fred Lowe, who put in a bid for one of these 2 antennas that were just sitting on the ground in New Mexico. So we did that, and the telescope was given to the Smithsonian National Observatory because that was the American institution in the discussion. But to be fair, the overwhelming majority of the work that's been done on getting that instrument ready for cold weather work and actually seeing it through is done by ASIAA. This is a map of, actually it's an aerial photograph of the site where the telescope is now. And it's just here, to be very close to one of the runways. And so the system is working, but it's not fulfilling its promise in any significant way yet. So there's still plenty of time for that to happen, but it certainly hasn't happened yet. But the original enthusiastic project plan was to establish the telescope at Ue-Li, get it working, and then move it to close to the highest point in Greenland, which is shown here in the slide. And so here's Ue-Li. This is the second highest latitude for a radio telescope in the modern world. There is another radio telescope that's closest to the North Pole. This plan, which is really more of a wish than a plan, is to move the telescope to summit, which would have substantial advantages because it's a relatively high site at 3,200 meters. That basically, there is at present no adequate funding plan to carry that out. And furthermore, the equipment that is used to move telescopes all across Greenland have been removed from the area by NSF because the number of fissures in the ice is growing and the pre-existing fissures are growing even wider over time. So I think it would be extraordinary to get this telescope to a high site, and as Paul said, it would be very good for very high frequency radio astronomy. But that's just an opinion, it's not a director speaking. I'll just highlight the next one. You've all seen this image. It was taken by the Event-Horizon Telescope Collaboration. It did not involve the Ue-Li telescope, because the Ue-Li telescope was not ready at the time. But it is, I think everyone in this room knows, almost certainly the most viewed scientific image in the history of astronomy. It's quite extraordinary, and AJ played a significant role in collaboration. And Paul pulled an extraordinary success story that I would not have expected to succeed maybe just days before key papers were submitted. You got a significant fraction of ASIAA staff in Hawaii to be co-authors on that paper. We didn't do the same thing for the SAO staff that worked for us in Hilo. And we got some bad feeling on the part of our staff that their colleagues from Taiwan were getting this membership from the EHT and the SAO staff weren't. That was unfortunate. So now I'm just going to end on a pencil summary of what the TAOS project looked like. This is just an image of 2 out of 4 50 centimeter telescopes, nothing fancy about them. And we pushed the system to operate as quickly as we could, but at significant noise levels. We read out 200 to 300 stars at 5 Hz continuously, and it was not powerful enough to make detections for what we now know about the quite well. Xiang Yu joined that project as the, so you might say the status of TAOS 1 was becoming resolved. And Matt Lehman had been in the project right from the beginning. These 2 individuals co-lead the project. This is This triangle here shows the locations of the 3 telescopes. The reason for there being 3 telescopes is that the killer of projects like this is you're looking for very rare occurrences in a very large number of measurements. And if you get something that looks like a common population of 1 telescope, how can you be sure it's not just some atmospheric phenomenon that just came in and ghosted us? But if you have independent telescopes, which means that they have to be far enough apart that the noise sources, which is primarily atmospheric scintillation, are uncorrelated from one telescope to the other. So these separations are 127 meters, 266 meters, and 323 meters. They also have to be small enough you don't resolve out the object you're trying to detect. So it's a balance which we'll find out in the coming year whether it was successful. This is the telescope. It's an L-Shiner 1.3 meter. There are a number of them at work around the world, including at Wiphu Ridge for SAO. But the beautiful, extremely unusual new thing is the focal plane design and implementation. So this is based not on CCDs, but on CMOS detectors. And that enables this focal plane here, which has this sort of what we define as a 5x2 array. These devices are edge vertical on 3 edges. So this is the system that takes 20,000 photometric measurements per minute, per second, excuse me. And there are two other cameras like that in Mexico waiting to be installed on the telescopes. So that's a personally, to me, very important result. I think it's a possibility to transform what we understand about the quite well, but it's very much a work in progress. It was seriously set back by the pandemic. So I think I've been a little self-indulgent here. It's me just drawing attention to things that I found particularly interesting and revealing over the time I was director of the CFA. And now I'm happy to sing the praises of ASIAA as a strong collaborator, and the collaborators from Mexico, Taiwan, and the US for bringing about the Taam project. And at this point, I'm going to stop.
Thank you, Dr. Okay, thank you. Next speaker, let's welcome the Director of Canada France Astronomy Telescope, Jean-Gabril Cuby.
It is a great honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Congratulations to ASIAA, long live ASIAA, and long live Taiwan needs astronomy. So I will present the long-standing partnership between CFHT and the Taiwanese community. CFHT is operated by France, Canada, and University of Hawaii, but we also have 2 associate partners, ASIAA and also NAOJ. So we'll start with an acknowledgement, as I always do when I present CFHT. CFHT operates on the land of the Kanaka Maoli people on the summit of Mauna Kea, which is a mountain of very high significance for the Kanaka Maoli people. We stand in solidarity with the native Hawaiian people in the right for shared governance of Mauna Kea and to preserve this sacred space. There are hundreds of historic sites, archaeological remains, shrines and burials on slopes and the summit. You have pictures of these archaeological sites, and here is a map of the hundreds of archaeological remains and sites at the summit of Mauna Kea. And we recognize the divide that astronomy has created in the local population, and we are committed to working with the local communities to try to do it. So CFHT in a nutshell, for those of you who may not know, the telescope's operation started in 1979. This is a 3.6 meter telescope with an equatorial mount, as you can see on the picture. We have been operating 100% in service mode starting more than 20 years ago. We deliver reduced data and science-ready data to users, and we also operate remotely from the headquarters in Wayne. We have 5 instruments that I will describe quickly in a minute. We are a very productive telescope, and we are very proud of that. This is the number of peer-reviewed CFHT papers per year. We are approximately at the level of 200 papers per year at the moment. And this is the graph showing the total impact per telescopes as recently computed by the Scrap-Tree, and we are again very proud to feature among the most impactful telescopes. We also have a very active outreach and engagement program, which is illustrated in the pictures here. I don't have time to enter into any details, but this is to emphasize the fact that we have a very strong program engaging with the local community in Hawaii. Finally, this is a very large dome, which at the time was necessary for hosting this large equatorial mount with this old technology, old telescope technology at that time, which is now an opportunity because we have the possibility to host a significantly larger telescope, the Wanakia Spectroscopic Explorer, that I will briefly touch on. And this is represented here, so this is a picture of what MSC could look like, more or less in the same dome as the current CFHT dome, and certainly on the same peak. Okay, briefly the instruments. So we have 3 imagers. Of course, you know particularly well the optical and near-infrared imagers, Megacam and WIRCam. I'll come back to WIRCam in a second. And we also have CTEB, which is a recent Fourier transform spectroimager that has been installed at CFHT. 11 by 11 square arc minutes at a spectral resolution of between 5 to 10,000. We also have 2 spectropolarimeters, espadons in the optical at a spectral resolution of about 70,000, and Spiru operating in the near infrared, again at a spectral resolution of about 70,000, and Spiru is optimized for very precise radial velocity down to a precision of about 1 meter per second. So it is our workhorse instrument for exoplanet detection through radial velocities. We are in the process of designing and implementing a new module that will allow simultaneous operations of espadon and Spiru, and this module should be put into operation and available in 2025. Okay, recent science highlights. I'm not going to enter into any detail here. I just want to emphasize maybe the first one. So with Megacam, we have been preparing the Euclid mission that was launched on the 1st of July. So we have really spent hundreds of nights preparing for Euclid doing wide field imaging. And we also, for fun, looked at Euclid on its way to L2. Okay, let me first mention briefly the future. So we work on the Mauna Kea Spectroscopic Explorer as a possible project to replace CFHT. We want to present it as a model of a Hawaiian project. It will be a 10 to 12 meter massively multiplex spectroscopic telescope that could potentially have 20,000 fibers in field of view 1.5 square degree, and hopefully we could start operations before 2014. In the meantime, we continue successful scientific operation with the streamlined operations, the module that I've just mentioned, combining espadons and Spiru, MegaCam and the prime focus, and we are also considering developing a pathfinder multi-object spectrograph that could serve as a pathfinder to MSC to be used for a couple of years. Okay, I will now describe a little bit more in detail the partnership with ASIAA. So it started in 2001. The current agreement runs until the end of 2025. ASIAA represents all the universities in Taiwan where there is an astronomy program. There is a provision for visiting astronomers and visiting fellows. I want to insist on that. This is very important. So we have hosted a few of you here, and this has been very useful both for us and for you as well, I assume. And the current agreement allows us again to host Taiwanese astronomers or visiting fellows. So if you are interested, please reach out to Ue-Li, where I'm sure we'll find the funding to host you, and to me as well. In terms of telescope time, the original agreement had between 5 and 10 nights. It is now was down to 2.5 between 2020 and 2022, and it's currently down to 1.5 nights minimum per semester and up to 5 nights. This is the graph illustrating the number of nights per semester. So again, it was more than 5, between 5 and 10, and now it is reaching a level of 3 to 4 nights per semester. And this is the distribution of the instruments used by the Taiwanese community. So there is a lot of green and red, which are MegaCam and RealCam, but you've also used essentially all the instruments available. So you see also a bit of blue, Espadons, Spiru as well, and even CTED, which you have used as well. This is the oversubscription rate, which is about at the level of 2 with some fluctuations, which is a fairly decent pressure oversubscription rate, and this is the fraction of proposals which come from non-IAA PIs. In terms of publications, this is the number of publications per year for Taiwanese astronomers, and on the right-hand side is the first authors from Taiwan. I think this is a very good publication record. It's about 10% of the whole CFHT publication record for much less than 10% of the time, okay? Because with just 5 nights per semester, and now even less, it is much significantly less than 10% of the time. Instrument development, so the collaboration with CFHT on instrumentation has been essential for ASIAA to build the instrumentation group. This has been mentioned several times today. So in particular, and this has been mentioned several times, your involvement on RealCam, with the development of the control electronics, but there have been more. So you have contributed on FlyEyes, which was a detector for the adaptive optics that we had at CFHT, also for the wind tunnel experiments, for the dome venting project, and more recently the development of the tilted gun guiding camera system for Spirit. You have also been very well involved in the large programs at CFHT. The large programs are an essential element of our science operations, about 25% of our time. So the Taiwanese community has been involved in 5 of these large programs: MAP, OSOS, Dynamics, CLASSI, and SLS. So very significant contribution here again of your community in our large program. And to finish, I will provide just examples of Taiwan-led studies or papers using data from CFHT. This will not do justice to the wealth of science that your community has done with CFHT. So this is just to illustrate a couple of the programs. So OSOS is the Outer Solar System Origins Survey. It is looking for trans-Neptunian objects, TNOs, and in particular in this work here, this was about the two TNOs, which are these objects in Neptune's 2-to-1 mean motion resonance. So there are different types of orbits for these objects represented here in this simulation. So you have in red the symmetric ones, and in yellow and blue the leading and the trailing motions. So this program has enabled to quantify, has enabled the determination of the three populations, which was absolutely not possible before. And this is illustrated on this table here. So these are the numbers derived for the three populations from this work. And this in turn enables to reject some of the models that you can see here on this plot. Some of the models are completely inconsistent with the results from this large program. Another science result is the possible time correlation between jet ejection and mass accretion for RW or A. So these are images or images of nodes ejected from the star over time. So it is possible to determine the time when these nodes were ejected, and there is photometric data and spectroscopic data with CFHT panels that were taken when some of these nodes were ejected, and there is an apparent correlation between the photometric data and the spectroscopic data, which each trace different physical mechanisms. So this in turn enable to constrain the origin of the launching of the jet launching, which is probably associated to the stellar magnetosphere. And last, you have used a lot MegaCam and RealCam to complement the wide field imaging surveys. Just to mention here, the MegaCam U-band follow-up of the Cosmos and SXDS fields, which has enabled the determination of the fraction of galaxies, of low-mass galaxies in particular, in the Green Valley, demonstrating that they probably do not contribute much to the transition between star forming and coalescent galaxies. And with RealCam, there has been a lot of work from your community to do observations of the Woods North field, enabling in particular the analysis of BZK selected galaxies at redshift of the Grad 2. Okay, that's it. So in conclusion, this has been an extremely successful partnership for us certainly, and I believe also for the Taiwanese community. So this has enabled the development of the instrumentation group at ASIAA. This has been mentioned a couple of times. I think an excellent scientific return as well for your community. And for us at CFHT, it has just enabled the development of a new instrument we can at that time. Thank you very much.
The next session, we will be playing the video for some message who are not able to attend this activity. So the first one will be the Jean-Dougherty, the director of ALMA.
Hello to everyone at ASIAA. Today, celebrating your 30th anniversary. I'm very honored to have been invited to attend the celebrations and to say a few words about the contributions made by ASIAA to the ALMA Observatory. It is regrettable that I'm unable to be there with you all today, but as an alternative, my thanks to the organizers for the opportunity to say a few words via this recorded message. ASIAA has made many significant contributions to the ALMA Observatory over the years, from the construction period through to the present day, with the ongoing installation of the Band 1 receiver systems. Thinking back to construction, ASIAA contributed to the assembly of many of our ALMA front ends at the Front End Integration Center in Taichung. Now, for those that don't know, the front ends comprise of our large cryostats. These are around a meter and a half diameter. They weigh about 450 kilograms, and they are the space, the refrigerator, where we put our receivers to be cooled down to 4 Kelvin via a set of 3-stage refrigerators. They also comprise of the housing for the warm cartridge assemblies, which are the electronics that amplify and send the analog signals onto the next step in our signal chain. Another valuable contribution was the development of our 2 front-end service vehicles that were built by Kotech in association with Kichong Industries. Now, these vehicles look very similar to the food catering vehicles that I'm sure all of you have seen at airports around the world. And those vehicles enable us to carry our state-of-the-art receiver systems in the cryostats between our laboratories at 3,000 meters and the telescopes at 5,000 meters, which is a journey of about 26 kilometers. The trucks really are critical to our daily operations because they greatly reduce the amount of time that our receiver systems and antennas may be out of service. And so they increase the overall observing efficiency of the observatory. And they also keep our receivers cryogenically cooled to 4 Kelvin while they are being transported between the high and low sites. In terms of the ongoing operations, ASIAA provides support to the CASA data calibration and imaging software suite that we use in the reduction and calibration of all ALMA data. And the Institute has also been a principal player in the development and support of the Carter Cube Analysis and Rendering Tool for Astronomy, which is a next generation tool used by scientists around the world to understand their data most effectively. It's a really effective way to visualize and analyze data that is particularly at a distance from the end user. And I think this software is going to see very broad application far beyond that of ALMA, most especially with new observatories being in different stages of development, such as the Square Kilometer Array or the next generation VLA. Another daily contribution from Taiwan is the support of ALMA users through the Taiwan ARC node of the East Asia ALMA Regional Support Center, lending support to users in East Asia. And lastly, I must mention the ALMA development project from ASIAA, the Band 1 receiver system that is going to enables ALMA observations from 35 to 50 gigahertz, which will open up the science related to the study of dust grains between the size of 1 millimeter and a centimeter, which is the transition between dust particles and towards pebbles and small rocks. And at the other end of the distance spectrum, Band 1 is going to enable the detection of molecular lines in high redshift galaxies between redshifts of 6 and 10. Band 1 was designed in collaboration between ASIAA and other institutes across the ALMA partnership in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, and in Chile, with the production being carried out by the Aeronautical System Research Division, ASRD, there in Taiwan, leveraging the valuable experience, no doubt, for both ASIAA and ASRD that was gained from the front-end integration work that was done by ASRD. And today, I'm very happy to be able to say that the Band 1 receivers, they've all been received here in Chile, and they are currently being installed in the telescope, even as I speak today. And we expect the first community science use of the receivers to be sometime in the early part of next year. So, thank you to all of you at ASIAA for the many, many contributions that you've made to the ALMA telescope and to the ALMA partnership, and to the day-to-day support that you provide to the ALMA user community. These have all been very valuable to ALMA, and your role in ALMA will continue to be very important as all of us continue to keep ALMA at the forefront of astrophysical research over the coming decades. I wish all of you the very best for your celebration today, and look forward to seeing you all sometime in the future. Thank you.
And the next reading video from Korean Astronomy and Space Institute, the director, Young-Duek.
Hello, how are you doing? This is Young-Duek, the president of Korea Astronomy and the Space Science Institute. I'm very sorry that I can't participate to your meaningful ceremony. On behalf of all the CAS peoples, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations of your 30th anniversary of Academia Sinica Institute of Astronomy and Astrophysics. ASIAA has been a trustworthy partner for VLBI collaboration and one of the reliable colleagues of the East Asia Observatory members. We wish your future success as the advanced research institute leading the astronomy and astrophysics in the world, and hope continuously keep on tight friendship relation between ASIAA and CASI. Also, we expect you have a memorable times and prepare another big step toward the next 30 years. Once again, congratulations on your 30th anniversary. Thank you.
The next message from Dr. Wiphu Rujopakarn from NARIT.
Greetings, folks. My name is Wiphu Rujopakarn, the Deputy Director of the National Astronomical Research Institute of Thailand, or the NARIT. On behalf of the NARIT and the Thai astronomical community, the Taiwan, not the Taiwan one, we would like to congratulate the IAA on this 30th anniversary. A very big happy birthday. We would like to congratulate you on having created here within Asia a world-class, world-renowned astronomical research institution. In my opinion, the IAA has the most vibrant and internationalized research environment in our region. And for that, I really would like to extend this big congratulations on having achieved this. We realize that this is extremely challenging to do because the NARIT takes the IAA as a development model and also the benchmark for us. We kept asking ourselves, are we at the point that IAA was when you were our age? The NARIT is just 15 years old, half your age, but we're trying to follow the footsteps of the IAA. In the sense, the biggest contribution for the IAA to our region, to Thailand in particular, is the role of the elder sibling, the elder brother or the elder sister, for us to follow your footsteps, to serve as an example that this is possible within our region. You have inspired us in many ways. We've modeled after IAA's development. For example, we see TAOS, and we've created our own robotic telescope systems. We've seen your instrumentation labs and instrumentation programs, and we've started out the optical instrumentation, radio instrumentation, and terahertz instrumentation, and so on here in Thailand as well. In this sense, the contribution of having served as an example that this is possible is the biggest contribution of the IAA to the region. We have fostered together many collaborations. We have worked together on the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope project. We have worked together on the science observation, large and small programs on JCMT as well. We have worked together on the East Asian Observatories, the EAO, which is the brainchild of the leaders of great leaders in the regions, Paul Ho included. And we have worked together on instrumentation, for example, the SIS mixer chip, that is the program that we have just started very recently and had the honor in receiving visitors from the IAA as recently as last week. We are hoping to serve as one of the burst monitoring site using the radio quiet zone that we had here in Thailand. The project is ongoing. We have worked together and will continue to work on the East Asia Young Astronomer meeting, the EAYAM, which I trust that we are very ready to welcome you folks in Thailand next year in 2024 in the next installment of the meeting. So these collaboration has led to many, many great memories that will stay with us long after we leave astronomy one way or another. And I think this is the highest result of astronomy, actually, that it brings us together and have these great memories. So if there is one wish that we could wish for this happy birthday, it would be that the IAA continues on this prosperous and active growth trajectory in the next many, many years to come. And this is the same kind of wish that we wish for elder brother, elder sister, so that we can follow their footsteps, so that they can go further and serve as an example for us to follow, as an example that these great things are possible. So, of course, we wish that we will have ever closer partnerships in many, many areas with the IAA in the next 30 years to come. And that starts right now. So we're crossing our fingers for all these collaborations, large and small, to grow, to become successful, to serve as a linkage for our institutions. So again, congratulations, happy birthday, and I'll see you folks around. Thank you.
Okay, and also we have the greeting letter from the Chinese Academy. So I will read on behalf of them. So the Chinese version first. 中国科学院紫金山天文台贺信，尊敬的彭威礼所长，在天文及天体物理研究所迎来30周年华诞之际， 我谨代表中国科学院紫金山天文台向贵所致以热烈的祝贺。天文所成立30年以来，主持或参与了包括阿卡塔马大型毫米波、亚毫米波阵在内的多项国际大型天文项目，与世界一流学术机构及天文台建立了密切的合作关系，取得了丰硕的成果。在这个喜庆的时刻，我们由衷祝愿天文所能够在未来不断迈进，取得更大的进步。紫金山天文台与天文所血脉同源，历史均可追溯至上世纪前叶在南京设立的天文研究所。紫金山天文台目前运行着中国首颗天文科学卫星悟空号和第一颗太阳综合观测卫星夸父1号，成功开辟了南极天文观测新领域，运行13.7毫米波望远镜以及空间目标与碎片观测网、近地天体望远镜等设备，在暗物质间接探测及相关物理、太阳空间探测及物理、毫米波和亚毫米波天文以及近地天体和空间目标与碎片等方向形成卓越科研团队，并取得系列原创性成果。紫金山天文台和天文所在科学研究和人才培养方面一直保持着长期的交流与合作，尤其在毫米波和亚毫米波天文研究技术领域开展了广阔而深入的合作，依托大型天文观测设施共同开展了多项巡天计划，取得了卓著的成效。我们期待双方同仁能够继续精诚合作，共同书写新的辉煌篇章。祝大会圆满成功！中国科学院紫金山天文台台长赵长印，2023年10月16日。And here comes the English translation. Letter of congratulations, dear Director Ue-Li. It was a pleasure to hear that the celebration of the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the Academia Sinica Institute of Astronomy and Astrophysics is about to help. The Purple Mountain Observatory, Chinese Academy of Science, would like to extend the heartfelt congratulations to your institute and express sincere greetings to all the researchers, staff, and students of your institute. In 1993, ASIAA Preparatory Office was established after approval by Academia Sinica Council. ASIAA was officially established as an institute in June 2010. During the past 30 years, ASIAA has made remarkable achievements in discipline discoveries, personnel training, and scientific communication, and has made a series of important breakthroughs in the frontier field of high-energy astrophysics, cosmology, extragalactic astronomy, star formation, planetary sciences, interstellar and circumstellar media, and astronomical instrumentation and technology. The comprehensive strength and influence of your scientific research has steadily increased. PMO has a long-standing partnership with ASIAA in cooperative research, talent cooperation, and academic exchanges. The two sides have been long conducting cooperative research in the field of terrestrial detection, galactic kinematics and dynamics, interstellar medium and star formation and evolution. Relies on the large-scale astronomical instrument and equipment, including LAMOS, SMA, JCNT, and ALMA. We have jointly carried out a number of sky survey projects and achieved fruitful science results. Over the past 3 decades, we have established a profound friendship. On this occasion of the 30th year of anniversary, please accept our heartiest congratulations. May the science cooperation between our two institutions continue to develop with each passing day. Yours sincerely, Professor Zhao Changyin, the Director of Purple Mountain Observatory, Chinese Academy of Science, Nanjing, China. Thank you. And so this is the end of the session. We will take a break. And please come back in. So coming up next, let's welcome the director of Subaru Telescope of National Astronomy Observatory of Japan, Dr. Satoshi Miyazaki.
Good afternoon, I'm Satoshi Miyazaki from Subaru Telescope here in Hawaii. Everything started back in 2005 October. One and 4 visited us at Subaru office. And I thought I remembered everything at that day. But it turns out that Paul pointed out that I was so rude. I completely forgot. It's so strange. Well, anyway, since then we've been working together closely to realize camera, and now they're working in PFS. So I would present you the collaboration between ASIAA and Subaru Telescope based on my personal experience, which is hyperspace building. Okay. So ASIAA basically contribute to the Subaru's second generation instruments listed here. Let's see. We have 6, but among 6 ASIAA are contributing 3 of them: hypersplankton, PFS, and now part of the ground layer AO system, which was already introduced by our Director General Tsuneta. And Subaru, let me introduce you what Subaru is, maybe you may know. Our unique feature among 8 to 10 million CRUZ telescope is its prime focus. Prime focus has the shortest focal length, which enables us a wider field of view. And it's very unique. They realize 1.5 degree field of view on the 8 to 10 million CRUZ telescope. And so it means that we are good at surveying faint objects over one area of the sky. So at this prime focus, we build the camera, which now we call hypersplankton. So because it's a camera, so it has a very standard components like ordinary commercial camera lens with the shutter and sensors and filter exchangers. And ASIAA contribute to the significant parts of the critical components. Filter exchangers, CCD testing, because the CCD is quite new then. We were working with Hanwha Photonics to build the fully degraded CCD, which is very sensitive thing, right? And Shang-1 is also helping us to evaluate the quality of CCDs while we are developing international affairs. And also the conceptual study of shutter there involved. So this is the camera, 85 centimeter fast lens here, built by Canon, and total weight is reached to like 3 tons, and height is 3 meters high. It's actually big like this. This is myself, 180 centimeter, 3 meter high camera right next to it. So this is how the camera looks like. CCD is built by, jointly built by with Hanwha Photonics, and this is the 4K CCD 50 micron standard format. But as you can see here, it's fairly dry, which means that it's a very high quantum efficiency. In fact, compared with other commercial CCDs from E to B, back then employed for the E to B American, we have a fairly high QE, especially in the red one. From 4,000 angstrom through the 1 micron, we have a fairly ideal QE curve over the very wide range of the wavelengths. And in fact, compared with this, like at 9 micron, we have a 4 times high QE compared with this E to B CCD. which means that 4 times UE is 2 times diameter equivalent. So that is, it was a very powerful observing to this fluid CCDs. So the CCD itself is small, so we have to mosaic them. And 116 CCDs are mosaic, just like this. And this shows you how our Kwok trend looks like. 116 CCDs are paved on the nearly 50 centimeter focal frame across 1.5 degree equivalent. And below this cold plate made by silicon carbides, there's a whole bunch of leader electronics inside the cryostat. The cryostat wall is not shown here, but everything is inside. So this output comes out from this cryostats. And this is necessary because CCD has a lot of wiring which we deal with as an analog device, and it's impossible to implement the field through, so everything should be digital like this. And okay, anyway, everything, the electronic itself is built by in-house at NAOJ. So this is the focal plane, 50 centimeter diameter. And the filter is also large, right, 60 centimeter diameter. It's big. And so, of course, the filter exchanger to handle this is also large like this. Here you can see how the filter exchanger looks like, built by Academia Sinica and ASRB engineers. There are 2 sort of jukebox on either side. 3 filters are stored here, and 3 stacks of 3 filters are stacked at here. And there's a vertical elevator to select the filters, one of the filters, and 3 each. So we have 6 filters at once. And there's a unit called the central unit, which holds one of the filters. So one of the filters is selected, and then the tractors, moving parts, push into this telescope beam and raise the filter toward the viewer front and set into the position. So the central unit is sort of a fixer of the large filters. So those 2 filter elevators and the central unit is a major 3 components of the filter exchanger unit, which was built by Academia Sinica. So this shows you how the final testing at the Hero base were carried out by the ASRB and the HIA engineers. I think this is Jean-Gabril, he is Eric from ASRB. I think Eric is working here right now. And anyway, this shows you how big that unit is. And once it's set at the telescope, it looks like this. So here's the camera part, and the two elevators were set on either side of the camera. And once it's loaded, the elevators click up to reduce the magnetic of the incident beams from the sky. So there's a mechanism to disrupt and ground this elevators. This is another view of the hyperspine camp on the telescope. Here is the 8.2 meter primary, and here is a hyperspine camp with a fully loaded filter exchanger units. And as I said, it's at 1.5 degree, which covers most bright part of the undermetal galaxies like this. And then, of course, there's a gap between CCDs, but those gaps are filled by the design of the pointings. So this is mostly the low data sets and what you see while you observe. Okay, let me show you how our image looks like using this movie. This is a sky chart. Here's the equator of the skies, and the greenish region shows you where we observe. 1,100 square degrees fields are selected for the legacy survey. The legacy survey took 6 years to complete from 2014. And then, so everything's now set. And some of the data have been already public. And you can see this data through the web using the browser. And let me show you how it looks like. So we are now zooming into one of the deep field, which is called Cosmos. So you can see the whole bunch of the galaxies. This is a GRI band, RGB, split into the RGB channel, and current that is generated by the GRI data sets. And as you can see, inside the Cosmos field, there's a whole bunch of galaxies that you can take. And of course, when you move your view to some other places, like in the middle of the Virgo constellation, you can find this very famous cluster of galaxies, ALMA 1689. When you compare with our image with this Hubble image, of course, Hubble image is sharper, but the depth is mostly, our image on deeper. And so we sort of comparing work, especially to probe the outer skirt of this cluster's mass profile can be always, probed by the very wide field data sets like this. So, we are very hope that complementary to the space telescopes, couple of JWST. Anyway, so this is a comparison, and the reason why I took the Apple 1689 for the example is that one of your scientists working here, Keiichi Umetsu, published many papers even in this 1689 classes. But I knew that I now know that the Keiichi is away. Unfortunately, he is returning from Japan from his vacation, but I can see him tomorrow with over the beer, and I will talk about these pictures over the beer tomorrow. Anyway, so Keiichi is one of the great scientists among others at the ASIAA, which has been a long friends of our team. Okay, let me move on to the PFS. Let's see, Frank over spectra, 2,405 spectrum object spectra, near IR over wide fields, 1.3 degrees, and so there's four major components, and prime focus, and among them, ASIAA built the prime focus instrument, which holds the very critical component of pilot positioners, and also the meteorology camera, which sends the location of the tip of the fibers from this casting location. So those two major components are built by ASIAA and delivered to nicely, almost in time, to Subaru. This shows you how the focal plane looks like, assembled into the PFI, and those assembly are led by the Taiwanese engineers, which is very nice. And meteorology camera, this shows the meteorology camera, how the meteorology camera looks like. So the BFS is now in the final phase of the commissioning, and the science operation hopefully will start in a year. Let me briefly introduce the other instrument which ASIAA doesn't involve so far, but it's just a showcase. We have a program with Extreme AO for experiment search, which they call SKEX-AO. It's kind of hard to read if you don't know this. And this is Extreme AO, and there's a, now start the flowing of the publications to identify the exponent. On your right, there's a science paper published last April showing you that we are able to continuously monitor the exponent, not a single shot. We can make a continuous monitor, which proves that our telescope is very, very stable. GLAO, that is a AO system informed from the secondary, just like the ESO did. But compared with the ESO's 7 arc mean field of view, we try to realize a 0.2 arc second infrared imaging over 14 arc mean the field of view. And that is our ambitious goals. And we hope that the operation starts in 2028, and ASIAA contribute to this too. We are working with some other international facilities to secure the access of the Japanese community to that facility using Subaru. Because Subaru has a very unique feature, as I explained, wide field imaging, much of the spectra at 8.2 meters, which only Subaru can do. And because this attracts scientists globally and enables a variety of international collaboration. And this secures the access of Japanese consumers to the new part of the facilities. Those are the lists of the collaborations. And at the bottom, we have a collaboration with NASA's New Horizons spacecraft, and that is our collaboration output was demonstrated on some of the very recent news on science imaging, talking about the Dyson distance objects spotted by Subaru, challenge, some things like that. So they are highlighting our collaboration efforts on the science magazines articles. I'm 2 more minutes, please.
Don't worry.
I have a few more slides. Don't
worry.
This is another story that I'm working on personally because I'm a director. I have few time to work on this, so this is my Sunday of being over. But I'm still working on some instrumentation, which is now the CMOS. And we are working together again with Hamamatsu Photonics to develop the high-speed, large format, and back-illuminated CMOS. The format is 2.5K times 10K, and the pixel size is half of 50 minus 7.5, and the 10 Hz will be the frame rate is possible. So we really want to do something really new on the 8-meter class telescope by mosaicing this 3-side compatible CMOS. And so we started some sort of test observing using small telescopes, and this is a single CMOS, but all the rest will be filled in the future to form the 50 centimeter focal plane. That is perfectly matched with the old SprangCam, which has been already retired, and SprangCam momentum is still there upon the summit. So we will recycle it and swap the old CCD viewer with this new CMOS viewer, and can do something really new, which anybody else can do. And that's going to be very exciting. But before we go to Subaru, we're going to go to the Vietnam 2.2 meter telescope at Kitt Peak. This is a new collaboration with University of Arizona, and we're planning to mount the prime focus of this Kwok telescope next summer. Okay, this is the final sort of a slideshow movie. And I generated this morning, like 5, to generate thought our memories onto this movie, and this is my final slide. So those pictures are all taken while we are working together with ASIAA and SRD people, starting from the ASRD and then shipped to Mitaka and testing this huge instrument together and tilting to test the stability. Of course, we eat, shopping, drinking, of course, very important. It's here. Oh yeah, they're leaving the observatory and go to this factory to do some final assembly tests. And here's, I've already shown this on the telescope. So now it's stably working, and sometimes they come regularly to do some preventive maintenance for the APU, and those all, are the critical part of our operations. And thank you, ASIAA, and we hope we stay in touch with you. Thank you very much.
And the next speaker, we would like to invite the director of 7mm array, the Timothy Norton.
As we're getting ready, it's a great pleasure, as I think all the speakers have said, to be invited here to talk to you today at this significant event with ASIAA celebrating their 30th anniversary.
Okay, now go back to...
How about the beginning? That's out in the middle. Let's see, how can I get back to that? What happened to my slides?
No, not your problem. Always our.
This happens. At our institute, I'm telling you right now.
Next meeting.
It drives Lisa crazy. We have CFA-wide meetings. Simple.
Don't worry, you will suffer again this week.
So I hope we get to the beginning of this. So just a little bit, I was invited to speak to you about the future of the SMA, and I'm the new director, as was just mentioned. I just moved to Hawaii a couple of weeks ago to relocate. I have a long relationship with ASIAA that began around, I think it was 2011. I started with ASIAA in the early days of the Taos site selection, around 2011, I think. And then had the good fortune of working with my friends here at ASIAA on the Greenland Telescope, and now with SMA. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the future. Maybe I hit the buttons here. Okay. One of those, well, and before I talk about the future, it's always good to look back. And you've heard a lot about the SMA history today, but also I'll just try to capture some salient points here in the first slide. The collaboration with ASIAA goes back several decades. In the beginning, July of '83, and I've put a note at the bottom of this slide. These are excerpts taken from Erwin Shapiro's talk in 2014 on SMA Navigator project. July of '83, Erwin Shapiro formed a committee at the CFA, the Center for Astrophysics, with Jim Moran as chair and several others. You'll see Paul Ho's name up there. And this in an era when single dish submillimeter research was beginning. This is a study of multiple dish interferometry and it ended up including a proposal to build a freestanding 6-element array of 6-meter dishes. And there's the cover sheet, cover page, nice artist rendition. Erwin talked about that cover in his talk, but anyways, I move on to 1996, important point, SAO and ASIAA reached a formal agreement, partly through the initiative Typhoon Lee, thank you, and with strong intermediary and later support from Paul Ho, of course, to expand the array to 8 elements, the last 2 being provided solely by ASIAA. I think you've heard that several times today. And moving forward, had a very fruitful collaboration following the 2003 commissioning, and this past year reached some milestones. I didn't write it up here. 1,000 referee publications and 50,000 citations. Fantastic work done over the past 2 decades. Fast forward to this past season, partner institutions received a total of 51 proposals. You can see SAO, ASIAA, University of Hawaii. 56 proposals were divided among science categories that span the table that I have here. The point in all of this is we're oversubscribed 4-1. And this is the takeaway from all of this is we're busy and we're productive. Thanks to this wonderful, really very, very fruitful collaboration. And just to talk about the future now, I'd like to drive home the point that we're continuing and planning to invest in the future. We're spending more than, as I see it, $12 million plus, expanding the capabilities of the wideband SMA or WSMA receivers. We've spent quite a bit of effort and are successfully now, our data archive is in the process of getting a major upgrade. We're investigating solar observing capabilities, and we're spending money to refresh the aging systems of the SMA to keep it relevant in the future. We're also investing in infrastructure. We just finished a $500,000 paving project at the summit. We have, we're wrapping up a $3 million upgrade to the Hilo office by adding a generator system. That will complete in January. We're just starting a $3 million flywheel generator project at the summit. $5 million air conditioning project is now starting. When I get back next week, I'm meeting with some of the construction planning crew. And we're planning on spending $3.5 million both the summit building refurbishment projects and Hilo building office refurbishment projects. So we are investing in the future. We see the SMA as having a strong future on Mauna Kea. Just to talk a little bit about each of some of the points that I just outlined, the WSMA receiver development is forging ahead, making some great progress. What started as receiver with having basically 4 gigahertz bandwidth, now 48, will become 96 with the WSMA upgrade. The first, prototype arrived at the summit. It's right now ready to install. That'll be going on in the coming weeks. Cryostats for number 1 and 2 are shipping from the manufacturer finally at the end of this year. And we're aggressively pursuing the next 2 procurements planned to begin in February 24. Money's in hand, and when I say aggressively, that means we're going out and trying to get better pricing from various vendors, et cetera, doing quite a bit of competitive bidding on cryostats. So the WSMA is moving, forging ahead. Other areas, as I mentioned, the archive is getting a major upgrade. PI-UV data, let's see. So right now, data can not, maybe this wasn't the case 6 months ago, data can now be downloaded in CASA format. An integration and calibration flagging pipeline is coming in the next few months. Carter in particular wanted me to mention that. And he's, the next set of bullets, we're investigating solar projects, enabling solar observing with the SMA. This is an area that has gained a lot of attention this past couple of years. And recently with progress made at ALMA, demonstrating the importance of solar observing. And we've got some director's office funding to investigate this. And the correlated area led by Jonathan Weintraub, of course, full disclosure, we don't have the funding in hand yet, but he's written some great proposals that have come back, high marks. We anticipate some success going forward. It's an important part of the WSMA upgrade. The interferometry school, some of you may have attended in the past. We came back out of COVID, we're now doing them live. And this is an important part of our broadening exposure to other scientists, et cetera. We held last May 15th to the 19th in Cambridge. We're talking about holding the next one in Hawaii, those who are interested. And did I skip? Sorry. Just to say on EPO, I consider my stance as working with the public, working with the surrounding community is extremely important in my view. We did this in Greenland, planning on doing this with the SMA in Hawaii. I think we're reinvigorating our participation in activities. Jean-Gabril talked about it a little earlier. Pamela Nelson is now assigned our EPO coordinator. She's working with the other Mauna Kea Astronomy Outreach Committee members to reinvigorate our participation. And as I see the future, SAO's commitment remains, this was actually a poor choice of words I thought about, I just realized. SAO remains committed to having a radio footprint on Mauna Kea. We've got to remove and change that footprint part. Absolutely important to us. You know, this is the finest site, one of the finest sites in the world for radio astronomy, and we're committed to being there. Of course, the Mauna Kea's lease 2033 renewal is may lead to some uncertain times, but we're working with other Mauna Kea observatories as well as SI, Smithsonian, Washington to aid in navigating towards the 2033. We're doing that now. And partnerships, I'd like to say, ASIAA is our highly regarded and respected close collaborator on the SMA. The SMA director is most interested in and motivated to work with ASIAA towards a post-26 relationship. So you should know what that means. And I'd like to just end this with, it's not the end. We're looking forward to a very productive future on Mauna Kea. Just to let you know, we plan on being there. We would like you to be there with us.
Thanks to the Dr. Thank you. So the next one will be the 3D video from the chair of our advisory committee, Dr. Taam.
Friends and colleagues, I would like to apologize that I'm not able to personally participate with you on the occasion of celebrating a very important day, the 30th anniversary of the ASIAA. I have been involved with ASIAA since its inception. Over time, it has grown tremendously in size and scope, in accomplishments and stature in the international community. Would not have been made possible were it not for the efforts of many individuals over the 30-year period. In looking back in the history of the ASIAA, the development of the first 10-year plan, while ASIAA was a preparatory office, was critical. The efforts in developing the plan relied on many individuals, especially the co-chairs Typhoon Lee and Fred Lowe. along with the energetic leadership of Frank Xu. The implementation of the first major project involving the construction and commissioning of the SMA telescopes and the development of its associated receivers required the skillful stewardship of the ASIAA by its early visionary directors Typhoon Lee, Qi Yuan, Fred Lowe, Sun Kwok, Paul Ho, strategic advice and guidance of the visionary chair of the advisory panel, Frank Xu, and especially the tireless efforts of many staff members, a number of whom are now current faculty members at the ASIAA. It's impressive to see how much has changed from those early years. The preparatory staff members whose offices were in the borrowed space of other institutes at the Nangang campus of Academia Sinica at the time would be surprised by the growth of the institute to its current size of over 170 members. In retrospect, the institute has broadened its research profile from its initial focus on radio astronomy to include optical astronomy and theoretical astrophysics. Central to the developments of the Institute were the establishment of international partnerships, allowing astronomers to gain access to world-class instruments and at the same time to focus on the building of the research infrastructure. The building of advanced instruments used on Taiwan's telescopes, as well as other telescopes, is a strategy that has worked well, allowing local astronomers to participate in frontier science. The investment of resources in people and equipment in the Institute's early development at the expense of not having a permanent building to call home has paid dividends many times over. In parallel with the rapid growth in observational and instrumental programs, theoretical and computational astrophysics, initiated and led by the former director Qi Yuan, also grew thanks to the efforts of the faculty and high-performance computing staff. Qi Yuan's vision of developing high-performance computer codes for computational fluid dynamics, like magnetohydrodynamics, was realized with the establishment of a strong computational research group that ASIAA has today. I first joined the Institute as a visiting astronomer in 2007 to lead the efforts in theoretical astrophysics under the auspices of TIARO, a theory initiative recommended in the second 10-year plan. This entailed recruitment, development, and maturation of young astronomers in Taiwan via running periodic workshops in schools on timely specialized research topics in contemporary astronomy. Thereafter, I joined the faculty in 2010, fulfilling the requirements for ASIAA to be established as a full-fledged institute, a critical juncture in the history of the ASIAA. During the ensuing years, I was involved in its administration to assist in facilitating the transition of the ASIAA from a preparatory office to an institute, in part by assisting in the mentorship and guidance of faculty, postdocs, students, and staff. During this time, my research interests expanded to include investigation using results from the SMA. Such a shift in my research exemplified Qi Yuan's vision of making a stronger impact of results from ASIAA by combining theoretical and computational expertise in the interpretation of radio interferometric observations with the SMA. Throughout the development of the ASIAA during the preparatory office stage and as Institute, the senior leadership strived to bring out the best in people and challenging them to attain a high level of achievement. Young staff were mentored to eventually lead their own projects. Throughout this journey, the growth of the Institute in observation, instrumentation, and theory has been impressive. To conclude, today is not just the anniversary of the Institute, but also an appreciation of the diligence of every staff member hired. It is a celebration of your teamwork and innovation. The success of the Institute in its various projects in, for example, SMA, ALMA, Subaru, GLT, required the talent and skill of so many of you working together. The Institute has flourished because of you. Thank you for being part of the Institute's success over the years. We all should be very proud of each other. A huge congratulations to all. The future is bright in the ASIAA, and look forward to your greater success and achievements in the future.
The next
video also from one of our advisory panel, Dougherty Lee, is also the professor of
I'm delighted to join this celebration, even though I'm not there in person. I feel that I feel your presence all around me. ASIAA has come a long way since its first establishment, and there's been a lot of scientific achievements. More importantly, it's built up an institute, and with lots of emerging young scientists, and it's a center of excellence, and it's generated an enormous amount of activity. Over the years, despite the challenging circumstance and along the way, this colleagues at ASIAA has always came through and made the best situation out of limited resources. The accomplishment is transparent on all aspects, including instrumentation, observation, and theory. And I have enjoyed it, my visit, many visits to the Institute, and feel that I got to know many of the young people. And I'm so delighted that it's now a vibrant and very active center. Of course, we also need to thank all of the supporting staff for their hard work, for making the operation of the Institute seamless, and for the past directors, and who gives their better part of their life to the dedication of this Institute, and starting from Yuan-Chi and also Typhoon and Fred and Paul and many others. And we are able to bring it into an international level, and it is a rapid ramp up, and more importantly, it is actually now has developed its own roots. And the fact that you look around and you see all these young people, emerging scientists, and who have matured from this environment. I'm so delighted to see the fruit of your hard work and the flourishing intellectual environment that has been developed and launched. I congratulate you, and I hope you'll continue to make great progress, and I hope that ASIAA will elevate to new levels and with a lot of more activities. Thank you.
Thanks to Dougherty. And this is the end of our session today.